Welcome to the InvestFourMore Real Estate Podcast. My name is Mark Ferguson, and I am your host. I am an active real estate investor. I flip 15 to 30 houses a year. I've got residential and commercial rental properties. I'm an agent with 9 people on my real estate team who've sold thousands of houses over the years. And I talk about what's going on in my career, as well as interview other amazing agents, investors, landlords, flippers, wholesalers, and companies who can help those people succeed. So I want to give a quick shout out to my sponsor, Patch of Land. They funded a flip for me in 6 days. I emailed them on a Sunday afternoon. They responded in less than 15 minutes. They have rates below 8%, work in 45 states, will fund 85% of a deal, and fund the repairs as well. Great company who I love working with, Patch of Land. And for my podcast listeners, I have a special discount page for my products, InvestFourMore.com/discount. That's InvestFourMore.com/discount. We've got coupons on all my coaching programs. Some of those programs involve calls with me, consulting, video training, and much, much more. All right, let's get to the show. Hey, it's Mark, and we're back with another podcast. Today, it's just me going to give some updates on the brokerage, flipping, rentals, all that good stuff for the year. So I'm going to get right into it and start with updates on the new real estate brokerage I'm starting. So I've had a couple of podcasts on this subject, talked a little bit about it on YouTube, on the blog, but we started our own brokerage beginning of April. A little sooner than we thought, but it's worked out pretty good so far. We had to move into a temporary office in the 68,000 square foot building I bought while our permanent office is being remodeled. So I was hoping to kind of move into that office, have most of it ready by May 1st. That did not happen for a number of reasons. Now our new date is June 1st. So I am making sure we're in there June 1st, get everything started going and kind of settled in, although there may be a few repairs, few things to finish after that is done. So what has happened recently? First off, like I said, we started our own brokerage, so there was a lot to do as far as getting the actual brokerage set up. We had to create a business, it's called Blue Steel Real Estate. Had to file documents with the state for the business side of it. Had to file documents with the state for the brokerage side of it. Had to get all that approved. Then I had to set up manuals, office manuals, different forms, different addendums, contractor agreements for my agents, employee agreements for people who are employees with me, all kinds of things we had to do. So luckily, there's a really good attorney's office in Colorado, and they had most of those forms already set up for people starting their own brokerage, just kind of had to customize it for our brokerage. So they helped a ton with getting that stuff set up. It saved me so much time not to have to do all those forms and everything myself. As well as getting the brokerage set up, we had to transfer the agent's licenses from the old office to our new office. So all of my team came with me, except for there's still one agent over at our old office, and he has said he's most likely going to come join our office as soon as the permanent space is done, but he's at the other brokerage now until that happens. But the rest of my team is here, so we've got our agents, administration staff. We kind of just started, didn't have a amazing plan for our starting our brokerage, but since I already had my real estate team in place, we kind of just kept doing what the team was doing as far as marketing, as far as different things. We were the Ferguson team at Pro Realty before. Now we're the Ferguson team at Blue Steel Real Estate. So we're kind of keeping that name to keep name recognition for our team. And then we'll also have the separate Blue Steel Real Estate brokerage as well. It has been challenging. Some of the things, that you don't always think about or that I knew would come about, but we weren't exactly prepared for, just the amount of paperwork, keeping track of contracts, keeping track of dates, those type of things. And we have hired some people to help with that. And there's been quite a bit of training going on to help those people get on board with what we're trying to do. So that's been challenging. It's been challenging because there's a lot of work with not only getting the brokerage set up, but designing new space. I'm still flipping houses. We still have rental properties. We still have the team activities. So there's a lot going on. Plus, there's still the blog where, I'm doing these podcasts. I'm writing articles, doing other things. So It has been a lot to take in, but it's also been really fun at the same time. So I think we're making progress. I think we've done pretty well for the short amount of time we've had to at least get our brokerage itself up and running with the team. And last week, we actually hired a new person, kind of an office manager who actually used to work at our old brokerage. And so she's been a ton of help getting us set up, getting everything in compliance, everything done how it's supposed to be done, because details are not my specialty. So I need to have other people who can help with that side of it. All right. So our team's doing well. The brokerage is doing well. We're not trying to add new agents right now. After we're moved in, after we're settled in, at that point, then I'll look at adding new agents. If I'm not going out there going to be recruiting full time, I want quality over quantity, and I want to take my time choosing the right people, ethical people, people who are doing a lot of business, people who will represent our company very well. So as far as the repairs and remodeling go at the new office, it's been making progress. It was much, much slower than I hoped it would be. And we used one of my crew's contractors who does a lot of work on my houses. Been working with me for 2 or 3 years, done a lot of houses, remodeling them. And in that new space, like I said, I have a lot of videos on YouTube, original video, a couple of update videos. So you can check those out if you're interested in seeing exactly what it looks like. But, we had to go in there, move a couple walls, nothing crazy. Had to paint the entire interior, and it's like 4,500 square feet of space. So there's a lot there. Paint all the doors, had to install new trim, had to redo flooring, which still isn't done yet. Had to redo the bathrooms, put in a kitchen, kind of put in a little coffee bar, had to put in a workroom. So there was a lot to do, quite a bit of demo as well. And the guy I was using, my contractor, we had been working, or his crew had been working for almost 2 months. And basically what they got done was most of the paint. They had not finished painting everything, part of the bathrooms, most of the kitchen, and then moving a couple of the walls. And I had talked with him at length about how important it was that this was done quickly, that we had a lot of people here working on it, and that, he's in constant communication with me and his crew about what was going on. And for a while, things would get better after these talks. Then they'd go back to having 1 or 2 people over there working at a time, painting by hand with brushes, just moving at a snail's pace. And the contractor was not on the job site. He was not working. He was doing other stuff. So it got very frustrating, and came to a certain point a couple weeks ago where Nikki, who's my project manager, went over there. We're making a list of all the things that still needed done, making a list of paint that needed done, all this stuff. And while we're over there, ironically, the contractor calls and says, talking about something. And Nikki's like, hey, we got to do this faster. We have to get this done faster. And he just went off on her. She was not a happy camper. And he basically said, I don't need your guys' work. I don't need you. I have better clients. I don't care about your project. So you're just going to have to deal with how fast I'm moving. And so after he said that, I told him, get his crew out of there. He's done. And it was kind of cool because that was 9-ish on a Thursday morning. And by 10:30, we had another crew in there working. So I had worked with him a lot, and Nikki was really upset about it too, because she had given him a lot of chances, and I probably would have fired him a lot sooner, but she kept trying to give him chances because she'd worked with him so much before, knew he usually has a pretty decent crew, and they usually work really fast. But yeah, so she was pretty upset about him acting like that and pretty much just saying he didn't care about our project. So we cut ties with him completely, told him to get his stuff. He had things stored in my storage unit that I'd let him store there. So all that stuff's gone, and yeah, we're done with him completely. So, and we can kind of tell by the work and the things that were done that he did not care, and he was never there. And I know he got some other new clients who I think he thought were better, more important than us. I don't know what it was, but so I was actually really happy. I mean, not happy because I fired someone, but I was happy because I knew things were going to change. It was really frustrating. I was, anxious, stressed about how slow things were going. And I knew they could be going faster. And so once we got rid of him and we got that new crew in there, I felt so much better about it. And I feel like in the first week, that new crew got more done than that other crew had gotten done in 6 weeks before that. I mean, they had a bunch of guys over there. They had painters over there. They'd have done a tremendous job. So, and that's actually another crew I've worked with on a bunch of houses as well. who've done fantastic. So once we got that new crew in there, things have gone much faster. We have started building a deck out front that's going to have a nice covered patio. We're working on painting the stucco, doing a few minor stucco repairs, and then painting the stucco is kind of a peachy color now. We're going to paint it gray. The ceiling tiles inside are all painted gray. The doors are gray. The reception desk is being built now. The bathrooms are being finished now. Lots of progress made. And the floor, we're finally moving forward on the floor. Hopefully, we've decided we're just going to kind of buff the current floor that's there, the concrete floor, put a sealer on it, and then an epoxy over it. So it should look pretty cool. That should be done soon. So there's a lot going on. We still have a lot to do. We need to finish the reception desk, finish the bathrooms, still some touch-up painting that needs done. Floors obviously are a big part of it. And then we ordered furniture. So I ordered, 6 new desks. I ordered a couple of nicer desks for my office. We ordered bookcases. We ordered file cabinets, all matching. Just ordered a bunch of chairs yesterday. We've got, what else do we have come? The barn. We've got barn doors for the conference room, which are on the way. We've got a little separate awning for the front that's on its way. A lot going on. We're replacing all the light bulbs, making sure all the electrical's done right. The plumbing's all been, fixed and done. So we're making progress. It will be tight getting in there by June 1st, but I think we can do it now. All of the outside might not be completely done, but we should have the floors. We should have the furniture in. We should be able to operate come June 1st. And Comcast, who's providing the phones and the internet, is scheduled on June 1st. So we lose internet at our temporary office here, and it gets switched to the new office on June 1st. So we have to be out of here and done by that day. So that should be really exciting. That should be a lot of fun and a really cool day, moving in and just being in that new space. This temporary space is okay, but I have a video of it as well. It's got old carpet. It's kind of stained. The walls are beat up. The doors are old. I'm doing this podcast in kind of a back office. The door is supposed to have glass, but it's got plywood covering the glass and no actual door handle. So I have to set something against the door so it actually stays shut. So it's not the best location right now. And all our desks are kind of in this giant, big open room because it used to be a thrift store and that's what was there before. So nobody has any privacy. I think we'll be pretty happy to be in the new space, have our own offices, and have something that's nice and really enjoyable. So that's kind of how the office is going. Like I said, a lot of progress being made. Design choices have been a little tricky, kind of decide between what I want, what my wife wants, what other people want, but we're making progress on that side too. So hopefully that goes well. We got our signs in. So if you guys follow the Facebook page for Blue Steel Real Estate, you can see pictures of our signs. We did posts with the hanging signs. So they look a lot nicer than most real estate office signs. Yeah, it's been really cool. So that's the brokerage. That's the update there. Moving on to my flips. So I set a goal to do 36 flips this year. And we are way behind that goal. Not quite, not super far behind on flips sold, but on flips bought. So I think I have to look at my list. We've sold 11 flips so far, but I have 6 under contract to sell in the next few weeks. So we'll actually have 16 sold halfway through the year. So that's really close to my goal of selling 36 for the year. However, I have only bought 7 flips this year. So this time last year, I bought a lot more, something like 12 or 13. And it has gotten much tougher to find deals this year. And part of that is because I have been distracted with the brokerage, with the office, with the commercial building we bought. But at the same time, if I thought Colorado's market could not get any hotter, I was wrong because it is still on fire. There are fewer listings than ever. Prices keep going up. And just about everybody, wants a whole lot of money for their houses. You think of direct marketing with off-market properties. Some people would be happy that they're making so much more money than what they bought it for. But a lot of people get caught up in how hot the real estate market is, and they want even more money than what it's actually worth, we're seeing. So I've talked to a number of different real estate investors in my area. I've talked to a number of wholesalers in my area, a number of people who moved from other states coming to Colorado. And they're all just like, man, it is so hard to get a deal here right now. It is just crazy. Sellers want outrageous money for their properties. There's nothing on the MLS. There's like 50 investors competing for one deal. It's crazy. So it has been tough, but we still have gotten 7 deals. So I can't complain. I would have liked to have, a lot more than that by now, and maybe we'll really kill it the second half of the year. I think once I get settled into my new office and get in more of a routine, I think that'll definitely help. But it has been tough. So I think, until April 30th, I'd only bought 4, and I scheduled to buy 4 that day, 3 from wholesalers and 1 from the MLS. And I closed on 2 of them from the wholesalers and 1 on the MLS. Another one, the seller just disappeared. Like they were the week before, they said they're set for closing, they're ready to go. Closing comes around, nobody could get a hold of them. Nobody could contact them. They're just gone. They vanished. So we could not close on the house. And they'd kind of been wishy-washy before that, extending things. But so that was a little crazy, thinking I was going to close on the house, and then nothing happened. With that type of deal, I bought it from a wholesaler. So it's not like I can sue the seller and force him to sell it to me, because I'm not buying it directly from the seller. I'm buying it from the wholesaler. And the wholesaler has all kinds of clauses and stuff in their contract, saying that if they can't get clear title, blah, 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 then they're out of it. And the wholesaler doesn't want to go to the work of suing someone. So just have to chalk that one up as a dead deal. Maybe it'll come along eventually again. Who knows? But that happens. So never count your chickens before they hatch. That's for sure. So yeah, we did buy 3 that day. So that's nice. Like I said, I've got before and after videos of just all my flips on YouTube. If you want to check those out and see what those houses look like. I don't have any under contract to buy right now, which is a little scary too. Like I wish I had, 3 more ready to buy next month, but we don't have anything. However, we have been ramping up the direct marketing again. So I hadn't been doing a whole lot of the direct marketing with everything going on, but we sent out some more letters. I've been doing some more, just marketing with direct marketing, checking Facebook, checking Craigslist, checking Zillow, checking MLS, just being more diligent about really looking for those deals, because I wasn't doing as much as I could the last couple of months. I've had so much going on. So just have to make sure I'm in the right place finding those deals, because that's one of the primary ways we're making money in our business. So like I said, we did our direct marketing. I have maybe 3 or 4 decent leads that I'm working right now who may or may not sell their house to me in the next couple months. So hopefully those will come through. Have some other lead sources from other places that may come through. We still have wholesalers sending us the occasional deal. So I had one just Facebook message me today about a potential deal. We'll see if anything happens with that. So there's still stuff going on, but it's tough. And like I said, I've talked to a number of other investors in my area who do close to as many flips as me. Some maybe even have done more, and they're in the same boat. They're just like, man, it's tough to find deals. People have their own, huge crews to rehab houses, and they're like, well, we don't have any houses to rehab. I don't know what I'm going to do. So definitely tough in a hot market, but we'll survive. We'll keep making it, and we'll be okay with the flips. All right. So moving on, let's talk about rental properties a little bit. So things have been kind of quiet with rental properties prior to last year. There's a few years I took time off, wasn't buying any rentals because prices got so high. Then last year, we ended up buying 4 commercial properties that ranged in value from $70,000 to $292,000. So those properties have done fairly well. All of them are rented, or I use one of them, the small $70,000 one, to store materials in one of my cars for personal use. So that's been awesome, having that space to store things at. And then some good news, I'm going to do a full write-up, maybe even a podcast on my rental that I bought for $292,000, but I'm getting that refinanced. And it should be a fantastic investment once I've got it all finalized. But like I said, I bought that for $292,000. It was about a 7,000 square foot building. The upstairs was finished. The basement was unfinished. So we went through, had to redo a heating system, paint, put in some flooring. We did quite a bit of work there. We probably spent $50,000 to $60,000. I try not to pay attention to exactly how much we spend because it depresses me sometimes. But Nikki could give me the exact number. But we spent a lot of money there, and that's kind of like my first commercial property I really tried to rent on my own. So that's kind of scary. But we got it rented right away for $4,500 a month to an oil company, and they signed a 3-year lease just for the upstairs. So we still have the vacant basement we can use for storage. Eventually, we might finish one of the units. It's zoned mixed use, so we could put a residential apartment down there if we really wanted to at some point. It has its own separate entrance, kind of a cool space. But they're renting it for $4,500 a month, and that happened in January. And so after a few months, I'm like, oh man, I should think about refinancing this, because I used private money to buy that property. I had one of my investor friends loaned me 90% of the purchase price at like 10% interest, something like that. And so I've had this loan on it where I'm paying 10% interest this whole time. Plus I had to pay for all the rehab repairs out of my own pocket. So I've had a lot of cash invested in this property. So I talked to one bank about refinancing this property. They said, oh, sure, no problem. We can get done. I'm like, okay, it hasn't been a year. Many banks require you to own a property for a year before they'll do a refinance based on a new appraisal. Before a year, they'll make you use what you bought the house for or property for, or the prior appraisal, whatever's lower. So I'm like, I just had to make sure. I'm like, okay, you don't need a full year seasoning period. I'm like, right, nope. Went through the process, got the appraisal done. I was really worried about the appraisal because I did not know what it would come in it. I was hoping it would come in around 450, but I could see it coming in as low as 350. It's just real tough to appraise commercial sometimes. And the appraisal came in right, I think it was 445. So I was really happy. Like I said, bought for 292, put 50 to 60,000 into it, and it appraised at 450. So that was a pretty good deal. It would appraise for even more if we had the basement finished and rented, but that's more work, more money we'll worry about later. So I'm like, great. Appraisal came in, and then the lender's like, oh yeah, but unfortunately you just have a 3-year lease. So we can only give you a 3-year balloon on this. And we're only going to finance based on your purchase price plus your cost into it. So they were only going to base the loan on like 350,000. So I'd do 75% of 350, and I was only going to have a 3-year term, so I could call the loan due in 3 years. And that was not at all what they had told me the terms would be when I first applied for the loan. They're talking about a 10-year balloon and lending on the full appraised value. So I was not real happy with that. And in the end, I talked to some different lenders, and I went with a different lender. I had that appraisal. It cost me $2,500 for a commercial appraisal, but I paid for the appraisal, took that to another bank, and we don't have it official yet, but from what I know, everything's approved. Just have to sign docs here sometime soon. 75% of the full appraised value. So instead of doing 350, we're at like 445, whatever it was. 10-year balloon on a 20-year amortization, I believe. So a balloon means after 10 years, they can call the note due. They can make you pay it off, sell the property, whatever. So having a 3-year balloon is not much time at all. 10-year balloon is much better. Now with the new loan, they can reprice it after 5 years. So it's basically a fixed loan for 5 years, and they can reprice it once at the end of that 5 years based on current rates, but they can't call it due for 10 years. So that was such a better loan for me, and very happy to see that. So I should be getting quite a bit of cash back on that property, and then I'll have a lower payment because we're refinancing at like 5% instead of 10%. And at that point, I'm going to do a full post, like I said, recapping the money we had into it, how much money we were able to take back out of it, the money invested, the cash flow, my rates of return, all of that after I completed the refinance. So it really has been a great investment. It was scary at first. And ironically, I didn't even want to buy that property. It was actually a mistake by someone on my team that caused me to buy it. When I first put it under contract, I sent an email to my assistant who was writing my contract. And I said, hey, write an offer on this property for such and such price. 30-day loan conditions or something, just longer than that. I think I said, give me 45 days for loan conditions, 10 days for an inspection period. And he was so used to me writing contracts on my flips where I had no inspection, no loan condition, no nothing. He didn't put those in the contract. He had no inspection, no loan conditions. And I made a mistake by not reviewing the contract before I signed it. I just assumed he did it right. I signed it, sent it off. And so after I sent that contract in, we got it accepted. I could not get the right financing. The original loan, my bank was kind of like, we don't want to do this anymore. I'm like, oh, great. So I'm like, okay, well, I'll just cancel. It's kind of a lot of money. It's kind of a risky deal anyway. And then I found out that my $10,000 in earnest money would be gone if I canceled it because we didn't have an inspection period. It's like, oh. So that's when I reached out to my friend, the private money investor, and said, hey, do you want to lend on this or even be my partner? And he's like, I don't really want to be your partner, but I'd be happy to lend on it. So ended up working out really well in the end. I'll have very little invested into it. I'll have it on a long-term loan and should be making a couple $1,000s a month in cash flow almost on it. Maybe not quite that much, but quite a bit. So really turned out to be a great investment. All right. So that's the highlight of commercial rentals from last year. And then, of course, this year, I've talked about it before, but I bought a 68,000 square foot building, actually with that same investor. We partnered on this one 50-50, and it has a grocery store, coffee shop, restaurant, a little other office. I said the temporary office I moved into now, and another permanent office we're working on. So this was a scary purchase as well. This was brought to me by my commercial agent, but it has been fantastic investment so far. All the tenants are on triple N leases, so they pay for pretty much all the expenses. The rent has been coming in on time with no problems. Tenants have been awesome. There's a few, deferred maintenance items that we knew about, which we're working on. And it's just been really cool owning this building. And the more and more that we're looking at the market, we're looking at other sales, we're seeing what's going on in the commercial, we're realizing how awesome of a deal we got on it. We paid $2.1 million for it. And like I said, it wasn't really listed. It was kind of a pocket listing type of deal. And our appraisal came in at 2.4, which if you're in the real estate business and you have an appraisal that comes in higher than contract price, it is so rare. I mean, appraisers almost always come in right at or just barely above contract price, sometimes lower. So to see one come in $300,000 more than contract price was really cool, because it obviously showed the appraiser thought this property was worth a lot. And he even kind of said in his report, he's like, I had a really hard time getting my value down that low. And if this property was fully rented, it would be worth 2.7 or 8 million, I think is what he said in the report. And after looking at different things and what's going on around here, I think this is a $3 million property right now. If I were to move into the new space, I'm paying rent to myself, and we rented this temporary space to someone else, I mean, it could be a $3.5 million property. So one of my new goals is to find more of these. I don't know how hard that's going to be, but really it's been an awesome investment. It's really fun. It's exciting. And it was a really good deal. So if I could find deals like this all the time, I would be one happy camper and just have to find some more investors, some more people to go in on them with me. But I think I might have that already too. So it's been a good one. Like I said, future plans, I had a goal to create $5,000 in passive income this year from rentals. And we've pretty much done that with just this building. I was kind of thinking it would be around $2,500, but it's been more like $5,000 a month from our buying this property. And with me occupying one of the spaces and paying rent to myself, it's just been awesome. So I still want to buy more rentals. I still have my eyes open. Residential is really hard still in Colorado, almost impossible to find good residential rentals. There's still some commercial stuff out there. It's really hard to find too. I mean, none of the rentals I found were just, waiting there with a bow on them for me to buy them. It took some work to find them and to get them, but there's still deals out there. So I've actually been sending direct marketing out to some commercial properties as well to see if we could get any deals that way. Nothing's worked out yet, but we have had a few calls, a few conversations. So hopefully we'll be buying some more rentals too, and not just focusing on the brokerage. On the flips, I just did a video the other night. They'll be posted next week about renting versus flipping, or owning rentals versus flipping houses. And I love flipping. It's a lot of fun, but it really is a job. Once you flip a house, you're done. You got to find more. Selling houses as a real estate agent is kind of more of a job too. Setting up your own brokerage, building a business is more of a business that works. But the real true investment I love is rental properties. So I love being able to make money, invest that into rentals, seeing that money grow, seeing my passive income grow, seeing my net worth grow is just a lot of fun. So that really is kind of the ultimate goal still, even though, as many of you know, last couple of years, we haven't been doing as many rentals. We've been doing more flips. A lot of that's just the market's been crazy here. So hopefully with this new niche in commercial, we can keep going with that, keep buying some cool properties and having a lot of fun with it. All right, cool. I think that is all I've got for this podcast. We talked about the brokerage, talked about the flips, talked about rental properties. Still have a lot going on with the blog. So, have a lot of resources, a lot of things happening there. If anybody needs help with finding a deal, I've got a super cool program. If you look under my resources page that I created on just how to find deals, on how to flip houses, I have my complete blueprint on how to invest in rentals. And then we do conference calls on those at least once a month, sometimes more. And I don't know if people understand, but I'm not a crazy marketer. I'm not out there trying to sell my stuff constantly. I have it there to try and help people, but I'm busier, obviously, with my brokerage and other things. So on some of these conference calls, there'll be one other person or two other people on the call, and we'll just talk for like half an hour about different things. It's pretty cool. So sometimes there's more people. But a lot of really good conversations, a lot of great things going on in those calls. And I also have a real estate agent system as well, the 6-figure real estate agent success system that I do calls on as well. In the last 2 calls, there's been one person on those calls. So I've been able to kind of been like a personal mentor to her, Elisa, who is an agent starting out. So if you guys are interested in those programs, check them out. are pretty affordable. And I feel like I can add a lot of value through those calls because we don't jam pack them full with as many people as we can, just because I'm not, spending a ton of time marketing and trying to focus on that stuff. All right. So that's all I've got. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you liked this podcast, please leave us a review, give us a thumbs up, and we really appreciate that. Thanks a lot.